And we are just waiting for her video to kick in. Oh, hey, Maruxa, we just need your audio.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey!
How are you?
Maruxa Murphy, are you ready?
Let's do this. This is going to be fun.
Are you ready to rock this? So you're an entrepreneur, a business coach. You started one of the, I love cool brands. And I don't know if you were on earlier, we talked a lot about the importance of niching and dialing in. You've taken the idea of a commodity. I could see a little picture behind you, coffee, right? And said, coffee, I'm going to make it coffee for a very specific population. So tell us your journey about what you've done, some big breakthroughs you've had, and about your coffee brand. Maybe hold up the pack, because I love the packaging.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everyone. Good to see y'all.
Maruxa Murphy, everybody.
Woo! Okay, so this is Perky. This is my coffee company. Actually, tomorrow is our 2-year anniversary.
Oh,
happy anniversary. Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So I created this about 3 years ago when my youngest, I have 3 girls. My youngest was about a year old. I had this idea and I was like, you know what? I'm exhausted all the time. At that point, I had forgotten who I was as a woman, as a mom. I thought everything about life was about being mom. And I kind of just felt stuck there. And prior to that, I had run companies before, built some cool brands and things like that. And I just was like, I missed my old self. So coming back to myself meant journaling every morning, having basically a morning ritual where I had my cup of coffee and a journal and just meditation time. And it was one of the most powerful things for me to kind of re-find myself. And so when I was in the process of creating a brand that really spoke back to inviting women to step into their power, which is really what Perky is all about, what I realized was it starts with coffee for me, and for many women. And so I was like, what if there was a brand that actually spoke back to us? So instead of just having whatever coffee is on the docket, whatever's right there in front of you, what if we could give love and life to people through the products that are in our house? And so I started the process at that time, about 3 years ago, of researching and really getting clear about what it is that women wanted. And I want coffee, and just so happens that other women want coffee too. So I said, you know what, let's do this. Let's either go all in and fail massively or succeed powerfully. And I went in to do that.
And it's going great. And again, and I'm sure, because I know we've talked about this offline, is that your coffee is great. It's going to be high quality, all the stuff that goes into a good coffee.
Right.
But there's a lot of other coffees that say the same thing. So it seems like the big differentiator is the branding, the messaging, and the who it's for.
Correct.
Right.
I mean, a big part of that is that. And I think this is really important. I know we're here really to talk about, audience growth and building brands. And for me, it was that. I mean, what I realized was, I honestly spent a good year researching. I was working a full-time job, raising my 3 girls, and I was researching like crazy. What do women want? And what I realized in my research is that, and I invite everyone to do this too, is don't just rush. I mean, rush in. If like here, Momentum Rocks. Like you already knew you had an idea, you went in. 8 weeks later, here we are. And also, if you're going into a whole new market that you haven't really necessarily played in, I'm sure you've done we do our research. And so I made the decision, what I wanted to understand the psychology of women. What are women really wanting? If this is, the moms are my target market, moms who stay home with their kids are my target market for our coffee, which is our first vertical that we went into. What are they thinking about? And I recognized in that time that really there's all these amazing brands that serve women. We're the primary purchasers in products in the home, but women are also craving to be heard by those brands. And so that's when I realized, oh my gosh. And really, if you think about it, it's not just women who want to be heard by brands. Yeah. Everybody wants to feel heard.
Right.
Everyone wants to feel seen, right?
Yeah,
So that's when I was like, okay, let's go for it. Like, let's just go and do this and see how it takes off. And we ended up selling like 1,000 bags that first month.
And everything from the branding, the colors, again, can you hold up a thing here?
Yeah.
By the way, this isn't a commercial for Perky Perky. I think it's really cool, the branding and look, and like when people see it immediately as you know, a 46-year-old guy, I'm like, all right, that's cool. It's not for me, but and it's not supposed to be for me. And everything about it, the name, the picture, the font, the colors, screams, this is for mom. So now you had your idea, and it relates a lot to the earlier stuff we were talking about in terms of niching and really narrowing. If you could narrow down coffee, you could narrow down anything. What did you do? Tell us your first, second, third step to start building a tribe, because you're one of the best I've ever seen at building tribes and audiences.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So honestly, one of the first steps was, and this is kind of counterintuitive. You know, a lot of people go into a brand and just be like, you know, I'm going to do it all myself. I have this great idea and they're just going to go put it out in the world. Right. So that's what we typically see when we're building audience or building brands. What I decided to do first was actually go to my people, right? Go to those moms. I just moved from Austin, Texas, but living in Austin, I had created brought a group of moms together that would come together for play dates and mom's night out. So I went to them and I said, ladies, what would you think if I created a coffee company, right? And I just started asking the questions and then from there, they started being my taste testers, right?
Yeah.
So they started tasting the coffee and they were giving me feedback like, oh, this is gross, or this is amazing. Oh my God. You know, so literally 50 out of 50 of those women were the ones that chose this particular roast to start with. And so then from there, the next step was I went to my Facebook audience because I have a Facebook, you know, Facebook is kind of where I hang mostly. And so I went to them and I did a live video, scared out of my mind, Ryan, but I literally did like a selfie video. And I just said, you know, guys, I'm wanting to just let you know, I have this idea. I could totally fail, but I need accountability. So here I am, mom of 3, working full time. I'm creating a coffee company and it's actually been in the works. Would you want to follow the journey? And so inviting them to follow the journey before we even launched the product was huge, huge for us. Because people from every which way came and said, yes, I want in. I want to know what's going on. I'm invested. And then we invited them to not just follow the journey, but then help us choose the logo. Like this logo totally would have been what I have chosen at all. Like at all. And actually, you know, the logo Perky Perky is very tongue-in-cheek because I'm a tongue-in-cheek type of person. And I wanted it to have some double entendres there. And so I thought the logo would be a little bit different. Well, that logo that came out was with a bustier person, you know, bustier woman and things like that. Women came to me and said, no, that is not me. Like, that's not who I am. And they really spoke to life to that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so valuable. So I started getting feedback from logo design to messaging on the package. We have messages on the back here to choosing the name of our roasts. So we had a contest. And so this one's called Happy.
I love it. And it's fun. It's fun.
Fun, right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's fun. And it was like, you know, it was honestly the easiest company I've ever built in that sense, because I finally like let go of the reins of trying to control all the things. And I said to the people that I wanted to serve, what is it that you are wanting? And they came and they told me, and we got to build it together. So I honestly believe Perky Perky is a co-creation within the community of moms that I got to know. And really that vibe and that feel and that energy has really started to take off over these 2 years you know, as we continue to grow the company.
And the two big takeaways from those steps right there are, number one, because I think most entrepreneurs, Maruxa, and you've been around enough entrepreneurs to know this as well, we make excuses and we start to put up these artificial roadblocks. Well, I want to start a coffee company, but I don't know any people who are just coffee drinkers and blah, blah. And they
right.
Where am I going to market? I don't have a list. You just started with a group of other moms, you start with your own Facebook friends. You start there, right? Just starting there. And then rather than waiting for it to launch, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, here's coffee. They're like, what?
Right.
Getting them on the journey. And I've did this as well with Rewind from the beginning. Hey, this is what we're going to do. And I called it Behind the Rewind, and taking them through with you so they feel like they're part of it is really important, especially if you're launching something.
Yes.
So now that you're doing this, what are you doing? And that's really good to get you to a launching point.
Right.
What are you doing now to continue growth and marketing of this brand?
Yeah. That's a great question. So one of the first things I did when I started, and this is how it relates to where we're at right now, but one of the other things I did that I want to make mention because it's super pivotal is I really got clear on my values, right? So as a company, we have 3 core values: conversation, both within ourselves and with others, which leads to connection, second value, which leads to community. So conversation, connection, community. So everything I decided then would be intentional to create those 3 things in our brand, right? And we began to really think through, okay, from a marketing perspective, if those are our 3 core values as a company, how are we going to be, growing this thing outside of the initial launch? So what we started to realize is that our people, again, are our biggest asset. We've started to really, and this is where we're at right now. So our growth place right now is brand ambassadors, but they're coming from within our community, right? So before I go out and find all the influencers out there and trying to figure out like who's going to sell it the best and pay them $500 on the minimum to, however
to take a
many
selfie
thousand,
with your perky.
Right, take a selfie with my perky. And we've tried it, and honestly, it's way less effective and way more expensive than our own people saying.
And it's a pain.
Oh, yes,
they're a nightmare to work with some of the time.
Now, some of them are amazing, I have to say, and at the same time, like our own people who've experienced the coffee, experienced the brand, experienced how we speak to them and love on them, they're the best asset to our company, and so we make sure to work with them as brand ambassadors and train them up to be brand ambassadors. And they're excited about it.
Are they
That's really where we're going.
In terms of, and if you could just share what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. I'm not going to ask you specific numbers, but brand ambassadors, are they compensated at all financially? Do they get free swag? Is it just give back?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a group for ambassadors. Where they're able to try out our product at a discounted rate, right? So like wholesale. And any of our new products, anything that we're testing, they're our new taste testers. I cannot say that today.
Taste testers.
Taste testers. It's like a tongue twister.
Test tasters.
So anyway, so there are taste testers as well. So they're the ones coming up with what should we come up with next? And it's a much more incubated group at this point. And so they get some free swag because of that. They get, like I said, the discounted rate on their coffee, their main coffee, but then they also get an affiliate commission, right? Or in essence, in our language, referral commission to share the coffee. So every bag that they sell, they get a certain, dollar amount, like I think it's like $5 per bag that they sell. So things like that. So it's a lot of fun to be able to work with them in that way.
That's awesome. And now in terms of your so how many products, SKUs do you have now? And where do you see this going? Are you going to stay more in the vertical of we're just going to do lots of different coffee blends? Or are we going to start doing other products?
Great question. So right now we have 3 core roasts, both in ground and whole bean. And then we have sample size of our main one because we use that for free plus shipping offers. We're testing that out too right now.
And you got Happy. What are the other names?
Happy is our dark roast. Delicious is our medium roast, like a chocolate drink. And then Wakey is our extra caffeinated roast.
I love the fun names. I really, when you came to my event, to Freedom Fest, and I saw your popping your brand, immediately I'm like, I love this. I love everything about it. So now you got your three main things. You're doing some sample sizes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then where you going?
Then where we're going is we're actually looking at doing some reserve roasts. So looking at like a holiday roast and things like that, just to fill in for fun and just give people new flavors. We're doing a lot of education on how to do coffee well, and then our goal is to get into really because I'm a huge fan of seeing our company not as a coffee company actually, but more as a personal transformation company, because that's what I do with women. And I knew I was going to start with coffee, but my goal is to have journals and opportunities for women to come together in group, in person, to love on each other, support one another, empower one another, raise each other up. So that's kind of where we're going. That's going to be our next phase, is to grow in that direction. Start with our ambassadors, help them learn how to lead these groups in their cities, and then keep going from there.
I love it. I love it. I love just getting beyond coffee and building a brand, a community, changing lives one cup at a time.
Yes, sir. That's what we do.
How can people find out more about you, your coffee, all the cool stuff you're up to, Maruxa?
Cool. Yeah, perkyperky.com. Perky. Perkyperky.com is the best place if you're interested in the coffee. If you want to check, connect with me further, MaruxaMurphy.com as well.
And they're not going to be able to spell that. Maruxa Murphy, MURPHY.com. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing and giving these. Though they might seem like, oh, of course we knew, but the one big thing, if anyone gets from this, anything, is the idea of taking people along the journey with you. That is huge, and no one does it, Maruxa. No one does it. And even as simple, and I did it again with Rewind, phone. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're up to. Here's the bars. Like, just simple stuff. Simple stuff
that we forget is so important. Yeah, I loved watching your Rewind launch. It was like geeking me out. I was like, this is exactly right. This is what we're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Maruxa Murphy. Thanks, Maruxa.
Mwah. See you soon.